Hey cookie friends, Julia Usher here. Welcome again into my home kitchen for my latest tutorial. This time I've got a 3D snow globe cookie for you, which is perfect for the holidays as a party favor, hostess gift, or even as a place card. In this video I show two different styles of snow globes, focusing on the brown one you see in front of you. Both rely heavily on my stencil sets to make the fondant appliques that form the vignette inside. However, you can dress up those vignettes with just about anything. Royal icing transfers, small candies, you name it. This project is just that versatile. I kick off the tutorial as always with a list of things you'll need for the project, including my stencils and some other things. However, the real beauty of this tutorial is not in the exact project you'll make, but in the techniques you'll learn along the way. There are about 17 of them this time. Starting first with contoured cookies, which is the technique for turning flat cookie dough into shapely hemispheres and cylinders. This project is composed almost completely of contoured cookies. I'll also show you embossed cookie techniques for doing the additional embellishments on the green variation of the snow globe. Then we'll move on to 3D cookie prep, which is simply filing cookies for fit and uniformity before we start to cover them with icing and other mediums. Once the cookies are all prepped, we'll start by covering them, beginning first with dipping. This method will be used to cover the small hemisphere for the base, which you see here, the large hemisphere, as well as the front-facing ring. This is the best way I know to get perfectly smooth coats of royal icing on cookies. Other pieces, like this tiny ring that goes on the front of the snow globe, will be trimmed out with stenciled fondant, and others, such as the cylinder, will be trimmed with modeling chocolate. While those pieces are setting or drying, we'll move on to the making of oversized royal icing transfers for the background of the vignette, which can also be done as fondant appliques. Then I'll turn to smaller versions of the transfers to make embellishments to go on the front face of the snow globe. Once those transfers are dry, we're going to add some sheen for the holidays using clear edible glaze spray on the buttons and a gold sheen on some of the embossed pieces for the green variation. Then we'll move on to airbrushing, which is one of my favorite techniques for adding lavish details to cookies very fast. We'll start with a relatively easy shading technique to put ground on the vignette. Then we'll move on to a slightly more involved precision control airbrushing and stenciling technique to make the houses and trees that go inside. These make use of my gingerbread village and reindeer wrap stencil sets. And I'm airbrushing here on fondant, making fondant appliques, which will dry and later be stacked to create very dimensional little scenes. We'll make another type of fondant applique. This one is rubber stamped, and it's an embellishment to go on the back of the snow globe. Remember, 3D cookies should look great from all angles. Once that applique is on the cookie, we'll move on to piped lines and beadwork, adding details with royal icing to the back of the snow globe. These same details will repeat on the front face of the orb as well as on the base. The next detail we need to tend to is sponging. That is applying airbrush coloring to the inside of the front ring so it matches the outside icing. Then we're on to the really fun part, which is dimensional piecework assembly of all of the appliques. This is nothing more than an arranging and pasting process, building up the vignette with some dimension using little bits of fondant. Then I move on to sanding, which is applying the snow, if you will, to cover seams and also to make the whole piece that much more Christmassy. Once the vignettes are all assembled to our liking, we'll move on to assembly, starting first with the simplest 3D sandwich technique, which is basically stacking elements on top of each other while they're laying down. But that's not all. We have to tackle 3D upright stacked or multi-level assembly, which is a little bit more precarious. That means getting that sphere on top of the cylinder. But I'm going to show you some techniques to do that securely and without the use of inedible supports. If you miss any of these techniques in the video, no worries. Just download the handout that comes with this tutorial and you'll find a treasure trove of technique tips, inspiration images, recipes, and more. And if that's not enough, I'm just an email away, so never hesitate to reach out with questions. I'm always happy to help if I can. I hope you enjoy watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Till next video, live sweetly and happy holidays.